morning, everyone. Hello. Thank you for joining this morning, the live webinar with Cassiar Gold. Today, we're going to talk about the gold exploration in BC, Canada. My name is Adina. I'm a director of Emerging Markets Capital, which is based in Hong Kong, and we help Canadian mining corporates to build strategic relations here in the APAC region with mining companies, mining funds, and off-takers. Just to remind you that this webinar is for informational purposes only. For those of you who are not familiar with Cassiar Gold, it is based in Northern BC, Canada, and it is focused on 100% owned district-scale Cassiar Gold property. The company is aiming to advance this project through exploration to revitalize the historical Cassiar Gold District. Today, our speaker is Marco Rock. He's a president and CEO at Cassiar Gold, bringing over 10 years of international financial experience, including capital markets, venture capital, and corporate advisory. Previously, he worked for Millennium BCP, a large Portuguese bank, and Barclays Capital, where for several years he spearheaded the derivatives and structured products team with a focus on commodities. He's a CFA charter holder, and he holds an MBA degree from Hong Kong University of Science and Technology and also London Business School. So Marco will deliver the presentation first, and I do encourage you to ask any questions you might have. And please leave them in the Q&A box, so you can drop me an email as well to adina@emarcap.com, and we'll make sure to have them answered at the end of the presentation. So with this, I will hand it over to you, Marco. You can share your slides now.
Thank you, Adina, and thanks everyone for joining. It's a pleasure to be talking with people back in Asia again. I'm actually currently in Vancouver, and as Adina mentioned, Cassiar Gold, we are a Canadian gold explorer, and I'll be taking you through the presentation. I would just before that would like to bring your attention to disclaimer forward-looking statements that I will be making today. To give you a bit of an introduction, Cassiar Gold, as I mentioned, is a Canadian gold explorer. Our flagship asset is located in northern British Columbia. We host a multi-million ounce potential district, the Cassiar Gold District. It's 100% owned, nearly 60,000 hectares. We already have a foundational resource there, 1 million ounce at 1.43 grams per ton. This resource is, for the most part, less than 100 meters deep. And also, there's almost no overburden to speak of. And more excitingly, this resource is open laterally in all directions. In addition to that, we also have a high-grade vein system. These high-grade veins sit roughly 5 kilometers south of this deposit. These veins run on average 15 to 25 grams per ton, so very, very high grade. And on average, they are 2 to 3 meters thick. They have seen past production and they are well understood. And really, they're open along strike for the most part, and there's a lot of room to increase the vein system. And that's really the focus of the exploration campaign this year. We released our first batch of drill results just a couple of weeks ago with great results, and very excited with the news flow that's coming over the next few weeks and months. So we're located in the safe mining jurisdiction in northern British Columbia. We also are very lucky to have outstanding infrastructure. We have Highway 37 bisecting our property. We have a camp. We have mine permits. We also have a permitted mill on site, 300 tons per day, that is fully owned. And we also have 25 kilometers of underground workings connecting the underground to the surface and all the infrastructure. And we also have 160 kilometers of access roads, as well as a couple of dozen kilometers of paved highway through our property. We truly have a world-class leadership team. I'll show you some of the names in a second. We also have very high insider ownership and very good institutional support. Importantly, we're quite committed to sustainability. ESG is a big topic these days. We have a great relationship with our First Nation community partners, the Cascadena First Nation. We provide local hires and hire local contractors, and really creates that sense of partnership with the community, and we're very lucky to have them as well. In terms of market cap, we are very attractively valued. Our market cap is roughly 30 million. As I speak, we are roughly just under 5 million cash at this moment, and So we're very, very attractively valued for what we have, and we are also a potential M&A target, which I also may talk about a bit later. Just to talk a little bit about our neighborhood. So our flagship asset, if you can see my cursor, is located here in this triangle in northern BC, right along Highway 37, the main highway going into northern BC. We are just 70 kilometers south of Silvertip, which is owned by Corp mining. We also a couple of 100 or 200 kilometers by road on Highway 37 north of both Red Chris, which is majority owned by Newcrest, 15 million ounces and 10 billion pounds of copper, as well as GT Gold, which is just recently acquired by Newmont. We do have a secondary asset called Sheep Creek, located in southern British Columbia, close to the border with the US. This district has produced nearly 1 million ounces at 13 grams per ton, but 100% of our focus is in our Cassiar Gold flagship project. Just a little bit about our team, and maybe a little quick overview about myself as well to start with. I'm Portuguese born and raised. I started my career in private banking. Then I did capital markets at Barclays for a few years. I did, as Adina mentioned, an MBA between London Business School and Hong Kong UST, and I've been in the past 8 years in Hong Kong, mostly advising and investing in the precious metal space. That's how I met Steve Ledwin, who is the largest individual shareholder and the chairman of our company. Steve, at the time, was the president and CEO of IM Gold. He was there from 2010 to 2020. Now his shareholding of Cassiar Gold exceeds 5%, and his immediate family owns another 2 or 3%. In addition to Steve Ledwin, we also have another Steve. Steve Robertson is on our board. He's a geo, and he's spent over 25 years with Imperial Metals, so a company that is very, very active in British Columbia, so he knows British Columbia extremely well. And Steve was also the recipient of the Schultz Award for Excellence in Mine Development in 2016 for his work at Red Chris. Steve was in charge of permitting development First Nations at Red Chris. So it's just great to have that kind of experience on our board as well. In addition to Steve, and both Steves, we also have Chris Stewards on our boards. Chris is a mining engineer. He's a former president COO of McEwen Mining. He was also previously with Treasury and Kirkland Lake. Chris is now the CEO of Minto Copper, a copper producer of the Yukon. In terms of on the technical side of things, we also have the great Dirk Kerwin on our technical advisory team. He's actually the main reason I've joined this company as CEO just over a year ago. He was the first one to highlight the similarities to Fosterville, the lowest cost producing mine in the world that is owned by Kirkland Lake. And highlight the multi-million ounce potential that we have here in our property. So I'm very thankful to him for that. And Doug Kerwin also brought in David Rees here, to the technical advisory team. David Rees is actually a structural geologist and one of the most sought after orogenic gold experts in the world. He consults for the biggest orogenic gold mines in the world, including Fosterville or at Brucejack for Pretium. Oceana Golds or at Nunavut for Agnico or for Barrick. So it's really great to have that kind of experience on our team, and it's just a testament to the potential of the property that we have. In addition to that, we also have James Maxwell on our advisory team. James Maxwell is the exploration director for Sabina Gold and Silver, and that's actually where our VP of exploration, Casey Gladwin, comes from. So a team that has clearly done it before, and it keeps on getting better. Very quickly, in terms of our cap structure, we have roughly 60 million shares outstanding, so a market cap of roughly 30 million, healthy cash position. We also have analyst coverage. Red Cloud wrote us up with David Talbot, a famous analyst. They put out $1.50 price target earlier in this year for us. We also have very high insider ownership. Insider ownership is over 30%. I myself bought roughly 500,000 shares on the open market on the first half of this year. Other insiders do the same. They buy regularly on the open market or into private placements. In addition to that, we also have a very healthy institutional support. You can maybe recognize them as the names. We have Sprott Asset Management out of Canada. We also have Commodity Discovery Fund out of the Netherlands. Crescat Capital just came in recently as an investor. They're the hedge fund out of Colorado, And we also have other investors, including a few in Hong Kong, like Bilingual, MCM, Emerging Markets Capital, obviously, as well as Terra Capital, a natural resource fund out of Australia. So very, very good shareholder support. In terms of sustainability, as I mentioned, we have a great relationship with the Cascadena First Nation. We try to hire as much as possible locally from the community. Also try to hire local contractors that are partners with the nation, and you know, among other initiatives like environmental stewardship programs. And you know, really create that sense of partnership, which is critical, not only to maintain that social license to operate, but also to strengthen it. So maybe zooming in our project, in our flagship project located in northern BC. So it's district scale, 60,000 hectares, roughly 100% owned, roughly 25 kilometers by 25 kilometers, if you can see my cursor. We have Highway 37 coming from the south here and bisecting our property in half. Separating Cassiar North, that for the most from Cassiar South. Cassiar North, for the most part, is bulk tonnage, near surface, 1 to 2 gram open pitable targets, like our Taurus deposit, our million-ounce deposit here at 1.43 grams per ton, which is this green dot, which sits just under this paved dead-end road that goes into the old historical Cassiar town site and Cassiar open pit asbestos mine that are no longer operating. And then Cassiar South, for the most part, is these high-grade vein systems. These are very slightly different, but very typical from orogenic gold systems. These are veins that are 2 to 3 meter thick, 15 to 25 gram per ton material on average. And for the most part, these vein systems are open along strike. And that's really the focus of the 11,000 meter exploration campaign that we are just wrapping up, and we have barely released any results so far. In addition to that, we also have a permitted mill right here next to the highway on site, 300 tons per day, and it's fully owned. And we also have a camp next to it, and then we have dozens of kilometers of property access roads, gravel roads, as well as the paved roads. We have also mine permits, so we have really, really good infrastructure, and we're very, very lucky to be able to benefit from all of this. So this slide here shows a little bit of our camp, gives you a bit of a visual. So this picture is taken from the Lucky Prospect, which is just a couple of kilometers north from the Taurus deposit, and the picture is looking south. So more or less where you have the orange dashed line, that's where Highway 37 runs through. And then we have the mill and the camp right along the highway or close to the highway. And then, over that or just under that dead-end road, the Cassiar Road, you can see the Taurus deposit that is basically at surface and open laterally in all directions. To give you a sense of the scale, there's roughly a 600-meter difference between the bottom of the valley here and the top of the mountain on those alpine targets at Cassiar South. That's where we have the high-grade vein systems. This entire orogenic system has been tilted sideways, which it's great. It makes mining that much easier. So the underground workings in the portals go horizontally into the mountain, and then you have the vein systems playing off that. So it's really great to have also that system kind of elevated, and also having the valley here. You can see the topography is very gentle and relatively easy to work with. So we're very lucky on that sense. Also, to give you some bearings, the bottom of the valley is sitting roughly 1,000 meters above sea level, and there's a vertical difference between where this picture is taken and the bottom of the valley of about 1,000 meters. So this point is higher than the other mountain on the other side. So just to give you a sense of the scale. So maybe zooming into that, to our foundational resource, our million-ounce resource is a resource that was put out in September 2019. We've already did some work after that, but this resource is mostly constrained by historical drilling, and the historical drilling and the shapes of this resource have to do more with the historical boundaries of the exploration tenements that were before from the previous operators, and they're basically open laterally in all directions. You can see the highway, the Cassiar Road, the Cassiar paved road going over the deposit. And this is a very, very high grade for near surface deposit, 1.5 gram per ton. And also the cutoff grade is relatively high, especially when you look at the long section here on the bottom. You can see that most of the resource sits less than 100 meters deep. You can see the resource grade shells are in blue. And also the overburden varies between 7 to 10 meters, and in some parts it outcrops. But then what's the most exciting thing is that it's open laterally in all directions. And we see a near-term target here of 2 to 2.5 million ounces. So we're very excited to continue to confirm and expand this resource. In this slide here, we have some of the highlights from the drilling last year. So last year in the summer, we completed a 5,000 meter drill program, was very successful. We confirmed and expanded the resource that we had here at Taurus. You can see maybe some of the highlights here in orange highlighted. So we had good continuity, like hole 114, 83 meters at 1.2 grams per ton. This is coming almost from surface, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about 7 meters. But what we also have here in this resource is hole 116. You have 18 meters at 5.4 grams per ton. That's a super high grade for a near surface intercept, and is also a significant width. So what we have here, and it's maybe highlighted, these vein systems are highlighted here. So we have a kind of a sea of grade, like, you know, running at around a gram per ton. But we have then these corridors, these are veinlet systems that run east-west, that are, you know, running slightly higher grade. They run 2, 3, 4 grams. These veinlet systems can be in the centimeters, but they have a nice halo around them, and they really, you know, they can bump up the average grade of the resource. So it's quite important to understand the geological and structural controls of these veinlet systems, so that at the same time that we keep expanding laterally, you can also focus on these corridors, so we can drive exploration faster by focusing on the areas of higher grade. This next slide here talks, slide 12, talks a little bit about the drill campaign that we have for this year. So we just saw some of the drilling that we had last year around the deposit. This year we did another 15 holes, 4,000 meters. We had originally planned 3,000 meters, ended up doing 4,000. So naturally, we had some interesting follow-ups to do here. We haven't been able to release anything, so do stay tuned for that. So there's more results expected over the next few weeks and months. So we did some step out here in the south, some step out here in the north, some down dip extensions along the western corridor. We drilled all the way to 350 meters. Most of the historical drilling was, 200 meters or less. So we went a little bit deeper. And also we had some infill and confirmation drill holes here around the gap in 88 Hill. And again, we haven't been able to release anything yet, but do stay tuned for that. We'll be releasing in a few batches the drill results coming from Taurus, and, you know, very exciting to continue to grow this part of our property as well. So maybe here now zooming a little bit into Cassiar South, where we have the high grade vein system. So we look at the map here. We are just a few kilometers, you know, roughly the main mine is roughly 5 kilometers south of that million ounce deposit at Taurus. You can see this table here on the bottom left with the past production from the high grade veins. So we have produced, you know, north of 300,000 ounces, north of 15 grams per ton. So very, very high grade. There's some speculation that, you know, because each of these veins were being mined by a different operator, each operator had owned its own vein, and they were centrally milling at the mill. And there's some speculation that due to the high grade and negative nature of this ore, which, as you can see here, is super high grade, some of those high grade specimens might have been taken to the personal and private collections of the mine owners. That will be consistent with what we see in the resource. So sitting just at the end of those 25 kilometers of underground workings, we have a small high grade resource. It's 70,000 ounces, 70, ranging between 18 and 24 grams per ton. So very, very high grade, which is, you know, slightly higher than the grade that you see from the historical production. What's exciting about this resource, this historical resource that is not included on our 43-101, is that it sits at the end of these underground workings, and for the most part is open along strike. So that's really the focus of the exploration campaign this year. And as you can imagine, if you can turn 70,000 ounces into, you know, 150,000 ounces into 300 or 600,000 ounces at 18 or 24 grams per ton, we really have the potential to aggressively re-rate the company. So in this slide here, you can see some of the location for the drill campaign around Cassiar South on the high-grade veins. So we've just completed, as of today, actually 7,000 meters in around 21 drill holes. So some confirmation and as well as exploration extension drill holes, kind of looking for those extensions of the veins. We were able to release our first batch of drill results just 2 weeks ago. So we intercepted very, very high grade, bonanza grade gold, including 4.8 meters at 35 grams per ton and 6.4 meters at 12.6 grams per ton. So super high grade. It confirmed our expectations about the grade and thickness of these veins. It's very, very exciting. And what's also quite exciting is the fact that these intercepts are just roughly 160 meters away from the underground workings, and it's very exciting to see this kind of grade so close to infrastructure. And again, just as a reminder, we have over 25 kilometers of underground workings. We also have mine permits, and we have a permitted mill, 300 ton per day on sites. So that's very, very exciting. Actually, talking about the mill, we just have the mill here on this slide. As I mentioned, 300 ton per day. It's a gravity flotation circuit. This mill was last operated in 2007, and it was then refurbished in 2010. And as you can see, it is in relatively good shape. The recoveries coming from this mill, range from 88 to 96%, on averaging 93%, mostly in the 80s and 90s. So it's just a great asset to have. In addition to that, we also have a tailings facility with 500,000 tons of tailings, grading between 1 and 1.25 grams per ton, sitting right next to the mill. And just to circle back into basically what we see as our exploration potential. So we're very focused in improving our exploration upside. Here we have kind of a long section highlighting that 15-kilometer belt, which is the focus of the exploration campaign this year. So this is looking west. So in the right, you see Cassiar North, and on the left, you see Cassiar South. But Cassiar North, you have Taurus here. In blue is the known mineralization, including the bulk mineralization that we have at Cassiar North, and as well as the vein systems that we have here at Cassiar South. In blue, either the veins that were already mined that you see in the previous slide, as well as some veins that the resource that is still sitting there. And in red, the potential for new veins. We feel there's a lot of potential for veins here. So the vein systems are open along strike. There's potential for parallel veins. There, most of the veins that were found in this system were the ones that are outcropping, so a lot of room to grow here. And we also have a stacked system because the whole system has been tilted sideways. So we have kind of a layered cake where we have several levels of mineralization, and especially on the high grade, as you can imagine, at 20 or 25 grams per ton, you can go pretty deep and still be very economical. And we also have the benefit of the positioning, the horizontal positioning of the thrust faults, which makes mining all that much easier. So a lot of room to grow here. We have a near-term potential of about 3 million ounces, but our camp has been compared to the Fosterville camp, which has produced over 90 million ounces, or Barkerville, which is now going to production with 6 million ounces at 8 grams per ton, or with companies like Newfound Gold, so like with the epizonal vein system. So we're very, very excited to work on proving that exploration upside, and we're very excited to be able to release in the coming next weeks and months the results from the exploration campaign that is ongoing. Very quickly, in terms of milestones, so this year, the first half of the year, the technical team was very focused on building new geological models for both Taurus at Cassiar North and at Cassiar South for the vein systems. In March 2021, we appointed Steve Ledwin as the chairman, and Steve Reverson joined the board, which I mentioned before. We also applied in the United States to the OTCQX exchange. And in June, we opened camp and started discussions on the exploration agreement with the Casca Nation. We've been able to drill so far 11,000 meters. We've only released 6 holes out of a 36-hole drill program, so a lot of news flow coming. And also in August, we We did a small financing. We let Cresca Capital in a financing led by them with $3.5 million. So over the next few months, probably from until January, February this year, we'll be releasing drill results from our drill campaign. So do stay tuned for that. Very quickly, a quick comparable table. You can see on this table Cassiar Gold here on the bottom right. We're very, very undervalued. You're trading substantially lower than some of our peers on the EV per ounce basis or on a market cap basis. Some of these comparables are either similar orogenic gold districts or companies that are located in BC or Yukon or Alaska that we feel that might have similar valuations, and we compare very, very well to each of them, and it's just a very, very attractive valuation. So just to summarize, we already have a significant resource. We have a 1 million ounce resource with a lot of room to grow, both around that bulk-tonnage deposit as well as on the high-grade vein system. We are located in a safe mining jurisdiction. We have a lot of existing infrastructure. We have the benefit of inheriting all that infrastructure that would be worth probably hundreds of millions of dollars if we wanted to replicate it today. We have truly a world-class leadership team. We have great partnership, committed to sustainability, and great local partners in First Nations. And as I mentioned before, we're very, very attractively valued. So I hope you feel the same. I guess we can finish the presentation here and maybe move over to some questions that we might have, if that's okay, Dina.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Marco, and congratulations with the amazing drill results at Cassiar South.
Thank you.
To all the attendees, you can also ask any questions if you have. And we already received a couple of them. Let's just maybe start with those. So first of all, how did you get involved in the Cassiar Gold story?
Sure. So, before I joined the Cassiar, I was involved with EMC. So we were mostly investing and advising the precious metal space, and mostly looking for assets that had great potential. And as I mentioned, so I had the opportunity to basically look at the asset that was in the company, and I was quite intrigued. It looked very attractive, and we were working quite heavily and still work quite heavily with Doug Kerwin, the great Doug Kerwin. And as I mentioned, it was the one that really highlighted the opportunity. What's wrong with with this deposit? Is there any problem here? And it basically came back to me saying, I can see a near-term potential here of 2 or 3 million ounces. So there's nothing wrong there. And but the real exciting part of this property is the high-grade veins in the south. This looks like a lot like Fosterville, and then at that point I was just really to jump on board, and that's what I did. We've brought in a good group of investors that understood the opportunity and really revamped the company, moved some people out, moved some people in, did a name change, a share rollback, rebranding, and so just over a year later, here I am.
Interesting story. So another question is, why is your market cap so low?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So this company, I guess that ties a little bit to the previous question. So this company was not necessarily in the best shape. It was a few years of the down markets. There are several assets that went through the company before, and I guess just over a year ago, the company was facing some a fatigued shareholder base. So as great deposits, they need to be found by the right team at the right time. I think we did that. We found a great asset that was kind of undervalued. We brought the right team, and now we're just starting to prove that potential. The gold market is also been a little bit overlooked, I think, over the last few months. I think the gold sector is quite undervalued. Not a lot of people are looking into it, but that's the opportunity. So right now the sector is just kind of inflecting. You can see some some excitement starting in the gold space. So now we have a great asset, we have a great team, and I think we were right on the time. And we were also starting to deliver exploration success. Just as a reminder, last year we were only able to drill Cassiar North, which is very exciting. As I mentioned, we have a near-term potential there of 2 to 2.5 million ounces on an open pitable near surface. At 1.5 gram per ton. That's very high grade for an open pit. And just now, we're as a company, we started drilling the high grade at Cassiar South with very exciting results. It's a great start, and now our market cap is just over 30 million. So we're heading in the right direction, and I'm very, very excited and very about what the future holds for us.
The next question is, do you consider other M&A opportunities?
Well, I guess yes, that's the short answer. I think we are very happy with with both of our assets. I think we have 2 great assets. One, we're not doing a lot of work there, which is Sheep Creek, and I think Cassiar is a great asset. I think we can stay busy here for a long time. As I said, we have a near-term potential here of 3 million ounces, but I think myself and the technical team believe that we probably have a lot more here, but we need to take one step at a time. So I think that it was busy for a while. Having said that, I'm happy to look at any opportunities. I think we have a duty to our shareholders to look at any opportunities that are exciting, be it on the acquisition side, given that the market is so depressed, and there's some interesting assets out there. Or on the reverse side, I think we're reaching out to majors and mid-tiers, starting conversations. I think we have a great asset that probably in this cycle is going to get, is my opinion, is going to get taken out by a major. So our goal is really to prove that exploration potential as quickly as we can before that time comes. And as we start getting close or surpass that 3 million ounce mark with the infrastructure that we have, and all the things that we have, good things that we have going for us, it's never too soon to start those conversations, and let's see what happens in the future.
And speaking of Cassiar South, why did gold mining stop at Cassiar South?
So Cassiar South, most of the mining stopped in the late 90s. So I think in the late 97, gold prices collapsed. And again, just as a reminder, each vein was being mined by a different operator, and they were centrally milling at the mill. So they were kind of living hand to mouth, kind of stop and go approach. So they really never had a kind of a plan. This property was only consolidated just over 10 years ago, so very, very recently. And yeah, so that's the reason the gold price dropped, and they were going stop and go. This property was consolidated in the late 2000s, and it's unlucky for them that they stopped, but we're able to pick up on where the old timers left, and we now can benefit from all of their work.
Another question on Cassiar South. How much gold do you think is left to be discovered there?
A lot. Well, we have people like Doug Curran have compared this to Fosterville. That's 90 million ounces. I would be happy with 1 million ounces at 20 grams per ton, or 500,000 ounces at 20 grams per ton. We just had one of our investors, Crestcat Capital, has as technical advisor a very famous geo called Quentin Hennig. He has compared our property to Morantau. It's a project that is producing 2 million ounces a year. He's also has compared our project to the epizonal vein systems that Newfound Gold has, and Quentin is also on the board of Newfound Gold. I'm hoping it could be as big as a Newfound Gold, or better said, as big as a Fosterville, or as big as a Morantau. And I'm very pleased with those comparisons. And again, I think I think it's in the millions of ounces, but I would be happy with 500,000 ounces at 20 grams per ton.
And the question about the drill season, So what is the drill season like, and can you drill year round?
Yeah, so yes, we can drill year round if we wanted to. So our camp has been winterized, and we could drill year round. This year, as the year before, we drill in the summer. It's actually safer and, more importantly, more efficient and cheaper to drill and stack all the drilling in the summer. Have more drill rigs in the summer. Although we actually did some work just over the last couple of weeks to access the underground. So we had our engineers walk the underground to see the state in which it is. Not only to use it as a potential platform for drilling, which will allow us to more efficiently test the vein systems from the underground, including in the winter, but also look at the state of the infrastructure. Again, having in mind the fact that we have mine permits as well as a permitted and fully owned mill on site.
Yeah. What will be the milestones before you will start production? After the drilling campaign is done, are you looking for getting permitted and getting feasibility study done? And when will be the targeted timing of those? That's 3 questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. Yeah, so I don't know when we will start production. I know this mine will produce one day. So we do have mine permits. We also have a permitted mill. The timing, it really depends on a lot of factors. As I mentioned, we are assessing the state of the underground. Actually, on the side, we're also assessing. The mill was last operated in 2007 and then refurbished in 2010. So we expect that's in good shape. But actually, we're checking to see how much it would cost to put the mill back in online. So I don't want to put any timelines on this. It's something that we are looking to do. We are first and foremost. We are actually an exploration company. So although we have all these aspects of near-term production because we're past producer, really we're an exploration company, and we only started to scratch the surface. So the mill announced deposit at Taurus is open laterally in all directions. We have a near-term target there of 2 to 2.5 million ounces. On the high grade, again, I would be happy with 500,000 ounces, but I'm certainly hopeful that we can find a lot more. And the more we find, depending on how much exploration success we have and where we have it, is going to dictate how quickly do we want to consider a mining decision. Now, of course, with those kinds of grades, especially at the Cassiar South on the high grade, you do start having thoughts about near-term production, but I think it's very soon to put any timelines on that.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Marco, for the presentation. Exciting news. Yes, we will keep an eye on the company. And also, hope to see you next year in Hong Kong.
Sounds good. Looking forward to that. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, everyone, for the great questions. And thank you, Adina, for organizing and hosting this, and Emerging Markets Capital for hosting us.